Extreme weather stirred up Chinese consumer prices in August. Inflation accelerated to the fastest pace in half a year last month. But the uptick was due more to higher food costs from weather disruptions than a recovery in domestic demand, meaning deflation remains the bigger worry. Official data Monday showed the consumer price index rose 0.6% from a year earlier last month, against a 0.5% rise in July, though it was below analyst forecasts. Extreme weather this summer, from typhoons to deadly floods and scorching heat, has pushed up farm produce prices, and that contributed to faster inflation. State media said crops affected by various natural disasters totaled 1.46 million hectares in August. Food prices jumped 2.8% on the year that month, from an unchanged outcome in July, while producer prices fell at their fastest pace in 4 months. A tough start in the second half has put pressure on Beijing to roll out more support measures. The economy faces a prolonged housing downturn, persistent joblessness, debt woes and rising trade tensions. In unusually strong comments last week, former Chinese Central Bank Governor Yi Gang called for more efforts to fight deflationary pressure. Global brokerages have also scaled back this year's growth forecasts for China to below the official target of around 5%.
So this is really one of the very few pieces of snow left in the whole of the UK. Scotland only has a couple of patches left, and this is one of them. And really this is the closest thing that Scotland has to a glacier. The Sphinx itself is actually quite a bit smaller than it was even when I visited at the weekend. It's lost about a third of its size. It now measures 5 metres by 5 metres by about a metre of depth. And it's far smaller for the time of year than I would expect it to see. And that's been the pattern for the last few years. In days gone by, you could have expected this to be 30, 40, even 50 metres long at this time of the year. This patch of snow only melted 3 times in the 20th century, remarkably. But what we're going to see this year, 2024, is going to melt for the 4th consecutive year. And that, for me, is a real indicator of what the wider climate is doing. Things are changing.
Retailer Alimentation Couche-Tard isn't giving up on its bid to take over Japan's Seven & I, owner of the 7-Eleven convenience store chain. The Canadian firm said Sunday it remained keen on pursuing a buyout and wanted confidential talks. 7 & I has so far rejected the $38.5 billion offer. It says the deal is not in the best interest of shareholders and would run foul of antitrust watchdogs. Couche-Tard, which owns the Circle K brand, says it could address those worries by divesting some assets. It said it was confident of arranging finance for the bid, which would be the largest ever foreign takeover of a Japanese company. It would also be the biggest all-cash offer for any firm since Elon Musk bought Twitter for just over $40 billion in 2022. By Monday lunchtime, 7 & I stock was up over 2%. That put it above the $14.86 per share offered by Couche-Tard. The Japanese company has said even a significantly bigger offer wouldn't convince it. 7 & I is much larger than Couche-Tard in terms of sales, stores and employees. Yet its shares have underperformed for years amid criticism of its structure and corporate culture. Couche-Tard, meanwhile, is valued much more highly, at around $52 billion. Now a takeover could massively expand its global reach and economies of scale. But one analyst told Reuters it would be hard to do the acquisition at a bargain price, with many investors aware of 7 & I's real potential value.
Venezuelan opposition presidential candidate Edmundo González fled to Spain on Sunday as he seeks asylum from Nicolás Maduro's government amid the ongoing crisis over July's disputed election. González, who has challenged Maduro's declaration of victory, arrived at the Torrejón de Ardoz military base with his wife, Spain's foreign ministry said in a statement. The exit of the 75-year-old, seen by the U.S., EU, and other major powers as the winner of the election, came a week after Venezuelan authorities issued an arrest warrant for him, accusing him of conspiracy and other crimes. European Union Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell in a statement said it was, quote, a sad day for democracy in Venezuela, adding that no political leader should be forced to seek asylum in another country. Venezuela's opposition say the July 28th election resulted in a resounding victory for González and published vote tallies online that they say show he won. Maduro has dismissed all such assertions and says there was a right-wing plot to sabotage his government. González's move to Spain marked another jolting shift in the fortunes of the former diplomat who came out of retirement and took over the candidacy in March, initially as a placeholder after opposition leader Maria Corina Machado and then another replacement could not stand. Machado confirmed on X that González was now in Spain, adding he had fled to protect, quote, his freedom, his integrity, and his life. She said he would continue to fight for the opposition from Spain and vowed that on January 10th of 2025, González would be sworn in as Venezuela's president.
Sudanese are suffering through a perfect storm of crisis. Over 500 days of conflict, the largest level of displacement in the world, famine in some parts and risk of this in others, 25.6 million people, over half of Sudan's population, are expected to face high levels of acute food insecurity. Additional resources are required to meet their needs. And we're calling on the world to wake up and help Sudan out of the nightmare it's living through. The scale of the emergency is shocking, and as is the insufficient action being taken to curtail the conflict and respond to the suffering it's causing.
Washington is warning against Nippon Steel's takeover of US Steel, saying it would create national security risks. That's according to a letter sent to the companies and seen by Reuters. In the letter, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the US says decisions taken by the Japanese firm could lead to a reduction in domestic steel capacity. It says that could hurt the supply of metals needed for critical transportation, construction and agriculture projects. The committee said Nippon might also oppose US tariffs on Chinese steel imports. One expert said it all marked a major expansion of the usual definition of a national security risk. Some also asked why a takeover by a firm from Japan, one of Washington's closest allies, should pose any danger. Even so, the letter provides a glimpse of the grounds the Biden administration is expected to use to block the deal, which has run into rising bipartisan opposition. Both Democrat presidential candidate Kamala Harris and Republican rival Donald Trump have said they are opposed. In a 100-page response seen by Reuters, Nippon pledged to invest billions of dollars into US steel facilities, which it says would otherwise be idled. The company also promised not to transfer any jobs or capacity outside the country. US Steel has previously said it would pursue all legal avenues to ensure that the takeover proceeds.